Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Yesterday, before the Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl were played, I pointed out that the numbers to look for were 11 and 13. And those were the numbers to look out for. Big tributes were paid to those numbers. We're going to go through yesterday's games. This morning I woke up and this was CNN's front page story. Evil Empire, Alabama has returned. And I had to laugh that they used a shot of number 99, who the camera was on all throughout the game last night, for this article. Yesterday, January 1st, 2018, it was a date with numerology of 13. 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 8 is 13. In the language of gematria, Alabama equals 13. If you write out 13 as a word, it sums to 99. The United States of America equals 99. Nation that began with 13 colonies, 13 stripes on the flag. The evil empire. The nation that's always at war. The nation that runs on tyranny, lies, deceit, hate, division. The nation that distracts its people with rigged sports games from college to the pros. Recall last year when Clemson beat Alabama. They did it with 99 offensive plays, and the winning touchdown was to number 13, Renfro. Using the alphabetic order, 13 sums to 99, so does the name Renfro. This year he was the best receiver on Clemson. Another year of experience. Recall, 2 years ago, I guaranteed Alabama would beat Clemson. It was an easy read. The Heisman running back for Alabama had won the Heisman 31 days before the championship game. Alabama in gematria sums to 13 as well as 31. It was easy to see that the Heisman winner was going to have a big championship game and Alabama would win the championship too. That happened. Last year was harder to call, but I said if I was going to bet on either team, I would bet on Clemson. Clemson ended up winning. I didn't make a definitive call, but I said I'm leaning Clemson. That's who I'd bet on. This year I didn't do any homework, but I did say just watch for the numbers 11 and 13 in these bowl games. They're going to play out in a big way. And again, both games yesterday were all about 13. Here we are a year later. Before I get to the 11 and 13, I also want to point out this. Highlight moment of the Alabama game was number 94 catching a touchdown pass. This was a defensive player substituted in for a goal line offensive play. What somebody who follows my work, for all of you not following my blog, there's a lot of people who've caught on that are making huge contributions. And part of the reason I'm not doing as much work this year with predictions is because I want you guys to do the work. I've taught you guys for years now how to do this. And there's people on my blog such as Sports Titan, who make great contributions every week. Right after this play happened, he documented this. He goes, big boy number 94 caught that last touchdown. Bama going for all-time win 904, lose the 0, we're right back to 94, to make Saban 9-4 in bowl games as Bama's coach. You think this stuff's a coincidence? It's not. This is definitive evidence of how the world of sports is scripted. And think about what 94 is. 9 plus 4, 13. The guy's name is Payne, gematria 49, the reflection of 94. Notice Duran is 83 like football, 29 also like football. Alabama won with 24 points. And look at what ESPN did right after the story. They got number 94 up here with a 49-second timer. Every year, shouldn't say every year, every single day, you pay attention to rig sports and what ESPN does with their timers, it's always the same. The timer lengths are not coincidental. They're tributes to the rigging. So Alabama with a 24-point win. We'll talk more about this win, the score, in a moment. But just notice, 24-49, Payne 49. What do they got up here? Payne with his touchdown catch. After the game, talking to Payne. Payne doesn't realize he's a cattle out on the ranch, farmed to play football. That's what you guys need to understand. These men are being farmed like cattle on the ranch for their planned careers. The world of collegiate and professional sports is full of people who were farmed, meaning they were purposefully bred and birthed and named for their planned future careers. Now, there are some people on college football teams who are good enough to make the team who weren't farmed, but they're not the ones that go on to the pros. The only ones that go on to the pros are the ones that were farmed. And this is what people need to wake up to. This is also how they keep all of this, hush-hush quiet. Just like CNN shows you. Hush, Shh, you don't know what's going on here. But I had to laugh at halftime. I had to laugh my ass off at halftime. After telling everybody to look for 13, look at the score. 10-3, 13 points. What's the QB got for Alabama? He's got 13 passing attempts. His 87 passing yards are funny too because his birthday is August 7th. But it's just this way. Every single day with Rig Sports. I don't know how everybody hasn't caught on in the world of sports yet. Millions of people are obsessed with sports. I've been doing this since 2013 and the word still hasn't gotten out to most people. It is sad. It is sad. And most people should just catch on anyway. These games are so stupid. They're so obviously rigged. People just can't catch on. Yesterday, Dabu Sweeney had a C on his hat. C, the third letter. Alabama's the A, the first letter. AC, 1-3. Just another 13 going on. They were doing their Taco Bell-luminati commercial. If you missed my breakdown of Bell-luminati and what's all in this commercial, go back and check that out. It's all about 13. 13 steps on the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill that symbolizes the real evil empire, the United States of America. Pointed out that if Alabama won in this game, they'd become 12-1 on the season, which has a square root of 11 on January 1st, 1-1. Who was the winning quarterback for Georgia? It was number 11, Fromm. Now check this out. The other bowl game play. Rose Bowl. Georgia won the Rose Bowl over Oklahoma. Remember, Baker Mayfield, the Heisman winner, was on Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield equals 239. He won the Heisman 239 days after his birthday. Talked about that before it happened. Georgia, Rose Bowl. Notice the overlap. Georgia wins the Rose Bowl. They did it with their former coach, Smart. Or not former coach. This guy's former coach at Alabama, Or he used to work under Nick Saban. But anyway, Smart got the win at the Rose Bowl. Notice Smart's 37 like Rose Bowl in Georgia. He's the coach of Georgia. Kirby Smart, 42, that big Freemason number, gets the biggest win of his career. So the winning score was 54 points, right? Talk about how this number matters in multiple ways. But again, 13 was the number yesterday. This game went to overtime. Was played in double overtime. This game went to overtime 45-45. Remember, I talked about this yesterday in the video I put out before the games were played, about the article about Nick Saban's father dying almost 45 years ago. What is it? I'm trying to remember. Oh, just the name Nicholas alone. The name Nicholas alone has gematria of 45. A big part of the narrative is that Kirby Smart came up under Nick Saban. Both of these men win games. Now they're going to face each other in the championship. But notice, if you write out 13, it sums to 45. You see this? 45. If you write out 45, it sums to 54 and 45. If you write out 54, 54 and 45. You see that duality with 45 and 54, numbers that are reflections of each other? 13 also has gematria of 54. Game goes to overtime 45-45 on the date with numerology of 13. The winning score is 54. Georgia Bulldogs also has gematria of 251. It's their full team name. That's the 54th prime number. They win the Rose Bowl with 54 points. Georgia came in 12-1. The square root's 11. Number 11's their quarterback. They win the game on 1-1, like 11. Oklahoma, of course, was also 12-1, but their starting QB didn't wear 11. 11 was the tell. Looks like I did a typo here. I meant to write Georgia is now 13-1, not Oklahoma. Whoops, but you know what I meant. Overtime and Georgia also go together, winning it in overtime. Remember, I predicted last year before the Super Bowl was played that it might be the first Super Bowl game to go to overtime. It was on a date with numerology of 44. That happened as well. I also said the game was all about 25 and the Patriots would win. 25-point comeback. But here, check it out. This is going to be an all SEC. That's the Southeastern Conference. All SEC Championship, January 8th, 18. That's a date with numerology at 27. 27. And I want you to see SEC has gematria of 9, 18, 27, and 54 in the base ciphers. Georgia advanced with 54 points in their win. Alabama won 24-6, a difference of 18 points. And the game's on a date with 27 numerology. I know that Georgia also blocked a 27-yard field goal by Oklahoma. If you missed my video on the Blair Walsh missed field goals, 27 was a big number. Somebody pointed out that Blair Walsh has connections with Georgia and college football. You know, it might be something deeper to look at there. Consider the championship game is also on January 8th, 1/8. Here's what you want to do. You want to measure from the coach's birthday to the date of the game and the starting quarterback's birthdays to the date of the game. You also want to look at the win records for the teams and their history. I haven't done the homework yet on this championship, but I'm just showing you everything in the scripting and what we can see about the narrative ahead. Georgia comes in 13-1. Championship equals 131, excuse me. Last year and the year before, 2 years ago, Alabama came into the game 13-1 and won the championship. Last year, Clemson came in 13-1 and won the championship. Are we going to see it again with Georgia? Are they going to come in 13-1 and win it? Possibly. That said, if Alabama won the game, they would be 13-1. They'd get their 13th win. Alabama 13. So there's homework to do here. You know? I started you out with a little bit of homework. I thought this was interesting. The starting quarterback for Alabama, from his birthday to the championship game is 154 days. Georgia Bulldogs has the gematria of 154. He's facing them 154 days after his 19th birthday. Also worth mentioning, it was 147 days after his birthday that he threw the touchdown pass to number 94. If you write out 94 as a word, it sums to 147. We always see those numbers coming together in sports. You know, the highlight moment, the touchdown pass to the defensive player. How often do you see that? You know, 147 days after his birthday. 94, 147. That's how I guaranteed. Remember, I told you the Cubs would win the World Series in spring training before that season began. I said it was a guarantee, it was a lock, it was so easy to see. And then, along the way, I guaranteed they were going to win it in Game 7 because of a 94 and 147 ritual. 94, 147. World Series has that gematria 147. Say, go back and watch the video, how I made that call months earlier, but again, it was those numbers. 94, 147. Rig Sports, from pros to college. And they're all doing this, not telling the fans anything. Because they're, you know, they're in a position to benefit from being part of these rig sports leagues. Getting money, getting fame, women, all the things that come with the corruption. And people just can't see it. I don't understand how they'd keep the secrets. Well, because there's an incentive, you know. It's called elementary understanding. It's called the basics. Most people can't understand the basics. That's why this stuff, which is a little bit next level, you know, is just too much for people to grasp. Little addition, letters and numbers, you know. It's that word goyim. Goyim isn't capable of much. Goyim's only capable of following what they're told, believing what the authority sells to them. It's the problem with the old goyim brain. Oh, yeah, one last point. In the Sugar Bowl, I'm pretty sure this was a fake injury. They love to do this. The fake injury with the number that corresponds with the game. We see it all the time in college and pros. Number 33 down on the field for minutes. You know, don't think anything was wrong with him at all. Sugar 33. They just had to have that camera zoomed in on his number 33 while he was laying on his back on the field for minutes. Sugar Bowl. Remember, masonry equals 33, secrecy 33, order 33, sugar 33, alcohol 33, prohibition ended in 33 on a date with 33 numerology, sugar into alcohol, advertisements nonstop during the games. They want a society of people who are dumbed down, drunk, you know, incapacitated. That's what they got. That's what they got. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Until next time. Here's somebody who's catching on. They write, "Hey Zach, Alabama beat Clemson." Probably doesn't follow my blog. But he points out, and I meant to talk about this, so I'm glad he pointed this out. Their score of 24 in numerology, 2 plus 4 is 6, and then they beat Clemson with 6. He asked, what's up with 6? Remember, 13 is the 6th prime number. Alabama 13. Alabama could get its 13th win next week. If they do, Nick Saban will tie Bear Bryant with 6 championships. 13, the 6th prime. Important. Prime number relationships. If you forget what a prime number is, they're the numbers that are only divisible by themselves. The next prime number is 17. 17 is the 7th prime. 19 is the 8th. You see? Numbers that can only be divided by themselves in 1. 13 cannot be divided by any other number. So 13 is the 6th prime. You know, if we see Alabama get its 6th championship, remember that for the NFL too, because there's another guy out there who's going for his 6th championship. Tom Brady, you know? So, good question right here. He also documented these other things going on with the players with the numbers. But that's what's up with 13 and 6. If Alabama wins the championship, and we haven't done enough homework to determine that yet, though, just remember, make a lot of sense. Alabama getting 13 and Nick Saban getting number 6 all time for the championship. All right, Truth Seeker, till next time.